So, hello. Hello everybody, and welcome to our seventh kitchen talk tonight. Really happy that you're there, and we are very happy to be able to be doing these kitchen talks and hearing different voices and from different continents. Tonight, we have invited Panaibra Gabriel Canda, who's joining us from Mozambique. Panaibra, you want to put on your video if you want? And Leah Rodrigues from Brazil, who is joining us also tonight. Here you are. Hello, the two of you. Very nice that you're here, and thank you for accepting our invitation. I think more than ever, my name is Carmen Mena from Plan B, and together with my colleague Anne Schmidt and with the support of Fabian, we are doing these kitchen talks since last year. And the idea was really like to keep up the different networks and different connection in the performing art scenes that we find, especially also all the voices from the South that we miss so much in this whole pandemic upside down world. And of course, we're looking for much brighter and different futures. And I don't want to end this short interaction without thanking the generous support of National Performance Network Stepping Out, which is the program that enables us to do this, which is funded by the federal government Commissioner for Culture and Media within the framework of the initiative Neustart Kultur. So thank you for this, and so enjoy the talk. And I pass the word to Panaibra, and then to Leah, and then thank you and look forward to hearing you.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Carmen, uh, for the invitation first, and then to also to open that possibilities that I or myself and Leah we can meet, reconnect, and continue thinking despite all this situation that the world have been going through in these last 2 years. And for me, it was really very important to not only stay on the media and watching TV, what's going on elsewhere. For me, I think these personal connections that make the borders much more closer than very distant. I think for me, it's a really big pleasure. That's why I was really very excited to have that possibilities to really share our experience, what's going on, because we are living despite the pandemic that is surround all the globe, but also we are still here in this South Hemisphere, so that we face many different pandemic, and for me it was really very interesting to just jump to also to think about our life condition in the world. That for me that is very it's very interesting moment, because it's about the global pandemic. So it's the same issue that all the world is really very concerned. So we feel almost the same kind of shakiness, or the same kind of fear, or whatever. It's different when we look for the situation like malaria in Africa, that for some other folks, they are really big distance of the situation. Or if we talk about Ebola, that the people are dying in Africa, wherever, so we are quite a distance of the thing. There are people who are living the crisis, the pandemic. But now it's really very interesting, because it gave as chance to rethink about the human conditions in our global society. And for me, it's really a big pleasure to be here. I just started with this big talk, but of course, for me, it's important to bring a kind of that we can open, we can start this conversation here as we've been from many years having different encounter thinking. For me, was really very good platform, this kitchen talk, to really dive in our context, but also in the context of the global. So my name is Panaibra Canda. I'm artist and working in the South Hemisphere to the world, and I'm living in Maputo. I'm a choreographer and a performer also, and it's really interesting to be here. I'm very excited to talk about these body conditions that our contemporary body is facing today. But as we are two, so I would invite Leah to jump to the talk, and then of course we have so many. I have many curiosity. I have many questions that I would like to know how things are from that side, but also to share that maybe we can find a kind of place where we can share and maybe have a different kind of view about this situation and about the future also. Yeah. Hi, Leah.
Hi. Oi, Panaibra, querido. What a
Olá.
pleasure
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be with you. I'm so happy that you invite me to be here with you because, as you said, we have this long conversation through the years. We met in 2000 in Mozambique, and I will never forget, was one of the most strong experiences I had in my life. I
Yeah.
remember so well. You took care of me, but and you showed me your life, your work, and this is very precious for me still.
No,
Uh,
thank you.
yeah, was a strong experience. I remember so well we eating together in this strange hotel where I was there, and I said, Panaibra, what is this that I'm eating? And you explained to me the food, everything, because
Yeah.
even we are connected for through a very terrible story, we don't know each other. So this dialogue South-South is not possible. It's only possible when there is the North who pays. We can only meet when,
Fun.
uh, and this is always what I think we were talking about, how we can really connect it. South is so important for our lives, our history, everything, but it's very hard.
Yeah.
And about what you said about this time of pandemic, uh, even the pandemics are all around the world, it hits differently the south than the north. It's completely different because the pandemic is only one more thing over a lot of other problems. And so it's completely different, the experience of the pandemic in countries, I can say about Brazil. Um, and I imagine also in Mozambique, I don't know very well the numbers, what was but in Brazil was a very terrible moment. We have this um, terrible president. So a lot of things are one uh, uh, is not only the pandemic that makes hard. There is so many other things that are there, killing, as you said, malaria, Ebola. We are under the line of poverty again. So there's people are dying for not eating. This we are now. Can you imagine this? So this is what happens in Brazil right now. 2 days ago, a boy of 24 years old, an immigrant from Congo, was killed in the street in Brazil in front of everybody. So you see, the problems are still there and very hard and very, we have many fights to fight, not only the pandemic.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have many different pandemics, especially when you talk about this boy from Congo. That's also bring my the reflection about this black body. We saw also this death of this American. I forget now the name, but it will come. But that was killed because they cannot breathe.
Mhm.
Because the police put his knee on his neck, so he can, so just this simple cannot breathe. But this condition of being black body also influence and make this situation very tolerant to be. I'm happy that of course there is a big movement of big many protests and that the guy was taken to the court. But I think it's really terrible to see that even still the skin colors can be something natural for just kill someone in the middle of everybody and nobody reacts. And for me, I think it's really very also curious that what happened with these American also that he simply cannot breathe. It's to remind a little bit what is going on, that many people during this pandemic is just a problem of breathing, so that we can't, the virus block us so that we cannot breathe. But for me, it's something that reminds us as a human being that we need the air for all, so we need to breathe all. So we need to create environment to breathe. But for me, to create an environment to breathe is to create a space to exist, because without that, we can't.
Mhm.
But still a lot of political, historical things that continue make impossible for like these Congolese to just simple be in Brazil, live, just be, breathe, being with as a simple human being in one context that where human life is respected. Yeah. So for me, it's really very curious and interesting to look for 21st century, so that we almost we've been moving many years of history, that we continue to look to the body in certain differences, which now I'm very, I hope that this situation that is hitting all of us can really make the society or help us to rethink about this body that we exist. Doesn't matter this south, north, east, west. That is just us as a human family. That we have the same kind of needs, some kind of same air to breathe and to just exist. And that when you talked before about that situation, that we have a lot of common history to talk, but we only need this triangle to connect with North to make it possible.
Mhm.
That's for me, it's really also very, it's painful to really think that we can't do that by ourselves, despite the interesting that all this political issue also influence, and for me in a certain way we have been running in this kind of a crisis for many years, like going back to colonizations that for me was a big crisis that segregated some kind of bodies and people by color, skin, by geographical location or where you're born, so, or to just be from certain part of the world, so you were segregated. So there was for me, it's another kind of pandemic that is created by the environment that we as a human being we created from political level. But for me, I think all this also about the health itself. Also, it's a political issue, because the value of human birth, it's we are still politicize it. That is really different when you talk about the situation of Brazil, that we are under the line of poverty, that there are people who die by hunger. So for me, it's a big crisis that we as a human being, that we are struggling to really live in this global world as respecting this right to live. And for me now, that's this pandemic hit most in Africa, was mostly in the North Africa, South Africa, and Nigeria, but most of sub-Saharan countries also were affected. And there was this kind of message from, I think, Melanie Gates, that was said that when the waves hits in South in Africa, that we'll see people dying in the street like animals, like when we see a crisis like with chickens, or when we see the crisis, that we see the animals falling and die. But in a certain way, I think we were lucky to be poor. That also was a kind of the irony to be poor, that of course there are a lot of death, but I definitely say that malaria is killing more than COVID. In most of part of the continent, Ebola killed more than the COVID. So I think if we put on a balance measuring, so was a crisis, yes, of COVID, but still, as we are always in many different crises, so there are other crises, like we were talking about the hunger, but others that we always navigating and facing them, and we try to find a way to survive through that. And for me, I think I some kind of a cycle that I'm talking with the friends, that maybe, well, by irony, to be poor in the context of Mozambique, like you don't have, or as we say, we survive under $1. Yeah, so it's like, so what you can eat when you go to work. So most of the people are eating most of the tropical fruits, what exists, like banana, like orange, which you find everywhere, people selling it. So we don't have much to go to the McDonald's or to go to KFC to eat this kind of standard food that was standardized for the global medium and higher class. So as we are under a certain way, we are excluded from a kind of a standard of food, which what I see is like this kind of standard of food also affect the body itself, because they don't give strong proteins to the body to be strong to protect itself. By chance, by being poor, that we've been eating most of organic vegetables and organic fruits, all the things that is not on this chain of standardization of global way of eating, and which I think for me was this point that give us another way of surviving of those virus that come with COVID. And then also we have here sun almost 18 from 5 or 4 o'clock until 18. So we have a full sun here in almost all the year. So we have these other natural foods that we know that the COVID demands that we have more these D vitamins, all this, which we get it by being here. And for me, I think it's really just putting different situations that also that I can say in certain way that we are all also like in a certain way. And of course I felt that with a big sorrow for many loss that happen in the entire world, mostly in the north, also in the south, also that's we say Brazil, South Africa, and I think it's a moment that we need to think how we really care each other as a human being, so that we need to overcome that certain crisis is just belong to the other, but to give more value to the life, that any crisis that affects our humankind, it's our crisis too. So we need to protect each other. So we need to find the solutions that really save life, not matter in which place. Yeah. But anyway, so I want to. What do you think? Also, I want to hear your thought. When we meet, so the conversation go in different places. That it's really. It's which I find is cool, because it just let us throw stones and think.
But I don't have any hope that this pandemic will make people think differently and act differently, because we are under a very terrible system, the consumerism, and so when I said that we are now under the line of poverty, in the other hand, more than ever there are rich people in Brazil. So so that this inequality. Brazil is a country is extremely unequal, extremely racist. I'm here speaking from this privileged place as a white woman, cisgender woman. Is completely different, as you said. In Brazil, each 23 minutes, one Black boy is killed. So while we are here, you can make the counts. It's the country that in the year, around 70,000 people are killed. It's more than a war. So this is every year. The country where we destroy nature, and the country where we killed LGBTQI are killed, feminicide, indigenous people that lose their lands, that are killed also. So we have all these layers of destructions in this country. But in the other hand, we have also many beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful initiatives from the civil society mostly, and people that are there doing their work, creating things, fighting for their rights. So I try to learn from these voices, from this action, to learn as a citizen, as a woman, as a choreographer. I try to learn from these people uh, how to find a way to be alive, to follow with projects as an artist also. And but I have no hope that things are going to be better. So we have to live with the trouble. Let's say, like this beautiful book from Donna Haraway that I read, and I think is a beautiful book, and we have to live with this. But we know how to live. You know how to live when you describe me the way people are doing in your home country. I can see that, for example, during the pandemic, you know that still work in this art center together with this NGO Redes da Maré. We built this art center that you've been there, a dance school. I'm still involved always with these projects. I think, like you, always thinking how to make dance not only for myself, but create conditions for dance, for art, for people. So I'm still involved since long time with this, and I think my whole life will be like this. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then there, because I'm associated with this NGO, I learned from them incredible things. During the pandemic, they made this campaign called Maré, is the name of the favela, Say No to the Virus. So it's a huge campaign that collected food, collected, give informations, then campaign for vaccinated people. But you cannot imagine what they did. And at the same time, the same place, I was making a dance piece. At the same time, we are changing the roof. So everything was together. When I see these people distributing food for more than 17,000 families per month, so you cannot be tired. You have, oh no, I go on because they are able to do this. So I'm also able to make my work. So I try to see these actions. They feed me as a human being. I know that we don't see each other for a long time, but when I close my eyes and I think, Panaibra is there in Mozambique doing culturat, doing his project. So this feeds me as an artist. And this is, I think, is the only alliance, I would say, when you put together people is like this. If these people that are doing beautiful things there and there and there.
That's really interesting and really cool. That's I say in the beginning. That's to really have this conversation with someone else that we have been sharing kind of the same uh, experience in locally. I think it's enriched for me by hearing you what you are doing. For me, it's really interesting that during the pandemic, despite the crisis, it became a source of food for your own work. For me, this is really amazing. I think it's the way in most of the scenario we have been surviving in the middle of crisis. It was the same. All this political crisis, all this economic crisis. It's on the other hand, give us food to really be creative, continue thinking, and find a reason to continue produce a dance work, a dance piece that could add something and in the community, but also in the global community, could bring and reflection that we can have a conversation. And I think that is really beautiful, and I think I really love it. In the same, on the other hand, what you say, that to know that Leah or Panaibra, or wherever he is, wherever the crisis, he stay there, grounded, and continue believe on the body language, to continue believe in dance and creation, and continue bringing work that is make us feel alive, and and
But you know, Panaibra, I'm somehow curious to ask you a question.
yes,
How because since long time you are making this bridge. You go there to Europe, you come back to Mozambique. You have this idea to what contemporary dance means to you, to your culture, and you made many projects bringing European choreographers also going there. It make this really interesting exchange. And how do you feel? How do you think now? Something changed for you after all these years going in the north, going back to the south. Do you think people in the north, they really changed a little bit their mind, or it's still the same? How do you feel this?
well, it's interesting question, and I think we had a long. I think the work itself, or this platform that was going on, create a good environment to create a dialogue, to create a space. But I think that in the personal connections, I think there are people who really think different.
Mm-hmm.
But in a more political, more thinking about north or south, I think it hasn't changed so much. Yeah, but I think as a personal individual connection, to open a lot of interesting connection with very interesting people who are very open, who really has those strength to really cohabit with the differences, and then find another corner or another place that we can cohabit, we can live it together in a very fair or in a more balanced way. But of course, we still have a kind of the system that it hasn't changed, only changing maybe the way of acting since a long time, which I think is really difficult, because I think most of the thing has to do also with education, because we can contribute with our own work, but if the children from very little, what is learning, it's what will make her personality. Of course, she will be challenged with different knowledge, but a few of them may change.
Yeah.
And then I think for me, this is also resonating what I'm thinking about. Also, this game of true or false information that we are giving to the people. And then for me, this is a really very serious thing, because it's affect and influence a life of someone. And if you see political, there's a kind of the way the continent of Africa or South America or other indigenous or whatever are promoted, or in the world, in the Western world, as we're talking about the Western, which is most of the time have nothing to do with the reality or with the really history. Yeah. So, but of course, it's I think things went so far in a sense that even what our children here are learning are books written from West to them. So to become a kind of another big virus that that is hitting the intellectual of our children and our also people as intellectuals. So in that sense, I think it's really difficult to really change in this big contest. But I think to continue create a space where we can continue having interpersonal relations, we can still play with listen, watching eyes to eyes, listen, yeah, learning for this body gesture when it's telling the truth, when it's agree or not, and all these things that they are in place in our body that is not, I think in any system cannot erase it, but can let it sleep for a while. And for me, I think it's a really very interesting, that's the things that still make me believe that we have, that our work is really important, that we cannot leave things in a one fabricated truth, but we can open other books that the individual or the person has a chance to read other books and to access other information. And for me, that's make the diversity, and also create the possibility of individual center to be more stronger. That more you become yourself, most then become a body in the system.
Yeah, because there is this kind of you said that you have to read. I heard like this, to read other books, to be aware of other realities, to learn from other things, to produce a possibility to understand the other that lives in a different way. And sometimes that this strategy ignorance that I call like this strategy ignorance, that you don't want to know things that can make you lose your things that you believe, or your position, your supremacy. And I can see this very well in so many people, as you said, in a personal relation is more easy. But when I think about the milieu, about the surrounding world of art, of not only for art, I many times I feel this strategy ignorance, that you don't want to know things that make you lose power, that make you lose your knowledge, that you are in the center, of course. And this I many times I feel this. There is a kind of ignorance, and I say, my God, they have everything, that they can know everything, and they don't want to know, because this will change their position. Also in relation with what people from the South produce. And this is something that sometimes I can feel, and makes me feel very surprised how it's still possible to have this ignorance like this, no? Because we from the South, we don't have this privilege, because we have to know everything. We have to know everything about the North in order to go there. But they don't need to know anything about us. It's not important. But we have to know the rules there, who is there, who is there, who is there, in order to go there to the North to work, because the money is there. money for arts in Brazil doesn't exist, at least for what I do for many artists. There is no money there. The money is where? Is in Europe, is where we have to go to in order to exchange our ideas. That is very important. Also to get this money to make survive our projects in the South, let's say. And this creates a strange relation. But I think when we speak this openly and calmly, we can think together about this relation of power, and why is this still like this? Why is important that to show other ways to make a dance piece, a theater piece, or write, because the parâmetros, não sei como fala isso em inglês.
Parameters, yeah.
Yeah, it's always dictated by the North. For example, we were talking the other day that we have to speak in English. Can you imagine? When I speak in English, I feel myself not exactly good in what I want to say, because I don't have the properly words that I would like to say. I'm much more complex in my language when I speak Portuguese, of course. But we have to speak English. Can you imagine this? Is already something. We have to speak English in order to touch other people. So this is a very strong statement that we have to speak English.
Yeah, definitely it's true, yeah.
É tão linda a nossa língua. A nossa língua é maravilhosa, né? E a gente pode falar muito mais rico, but we have to speak English. So we have to speak this language that is like this, that, I don't know all the words that come into my mind. I have to translate quickly to not say something bad. And I don't know, it's just thoughts.
Yeah, that is true. And we can go even more far, because for me, I actually made a piece which we call unofficial language, because we speak Portuguese, yes, also as official language, but Portuguese in Mozambique is spoken by almost 30% of the population. So, so it's really very interesting, that process of entering to yourself, and we're making the exercise. Want to express yourself, but at the same time you find the vocabulary to express. And it's really interesting in one way to acknowledge that we are really making many big exercise to express what our thoughts to be understood. So we are not really finding a very kind of a ground that everything moves smoothly. But this is not, I think I could say that this, what we talk about is we have to speak in English. I think it's more beyond that situation of speaking here in this kitchen talking English. I think it's really big than that, because in most of the sector or wherever, you need to, there was one very interesting statement from President Samora Machel, which was the first president of Mozambique after the independence, that he said something interesting, that for us, we need to learn the language of the enemy to be able to defeat during this fighting against the colonizations. That language is something very huge. that you need to be strategical, and that it's really important to learn other language without forgetting your own language, but that you will better understand also the other, and then you will make a better strategy to progress with the fight that you believe that is the direction is the good one, or that you thought may arise in a very balanced port where we can really speak arguments. Yeah, despite that, these things you are talking about, supremacy, that make other without having no interest in to learn other language or to read other books, because it's like those books that I know that's the important, those are the truths, those are the reality. But I think, of course, we need to continue this process. And in some point, I believe in you that nothing will change. In fact, that there is no big hope. Yeah. But in that sense, that maybe one before when we were talking with Carmen, was very interesting to talk about for the sky not to fall, how we hold. The sky, it's for all of us. Imagine if the south has to hold the sky to not to fall, what will happen in the north? So there's a kind of a responsibility. The sky, it's here for all of us. How do we hold it to not fall? Does we give others responsibility, or responsibility of all of us? So how do we negotiate that space? And maybe it could be a kind of a place I can find that words could continue make him think that to be understood by the other. I don't care to learn language, but the value of what I have, what I think must move, be understood in the sense that the others also to think and to hold the sky also in the way they are, because they know different truths, that if we don't hold it, it will fall.
Yeah, and for example, these indigenous people, this is this piece was that I made is around the book, is inspired, or I like the word of is how do you say this in English, when soprar?
Yeah, to
blow.
Breathe out.
Yeah. This imagination for this piece comes from a book written by a shaman Yanomami, is ethnic of indigenous people in the north of Brazil. And he wrote this incredible book for it's called A Queda do Céu, the falling of the sky. And then he says in the book that indigenous people are holding the sky for white people since ever. They are there taking care of the Amazonia. It's not only now, it's from years and years, and their voices are never heard, never, ever. So they are there, they have this knowledge. They have the knowledge of what to do with forests, what to do with the way of living. Is a very strong wisdom in their voices, but we are not able to hear. So I think we have to really shift. It's about language, but I think many people should learn this kind, or should learn how to hear these other voices.
Yeah.
Not only look in other directions. They have so many things to that you can learn from them. Is what I try also, reading other books, reading. As I said, I read the book of this writer from Mozambique, Paula Chimamanda,
Paulina Chiziana, yes, yeah.
Chiziana.
Paulina Chiziana, yeah.
I don't know how to say Paula Chiziana.
Chiziana.
You see, language again. Paula Chiziana. So I read this beautiful book that opened my mind for another reality, because read her words was for me, I discovered another universe. So I think it's very important to be open to other cultures, other languages, other way to see things, to see a piece of art also.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. But that is interesting, because that's kind of that is in good direction. But of course, this question of power again is coming back, because you standardize everything the way you look, so that you don't create a space to look different, or to look other way of saying things. I'm really happy that they still have in the globe, not only in Europe, that there are other festival or venues that really try to bring those diversities. I think they are really doing a really very interesting work. But of course, I think probably should go beyond only the work. I've been talking before, like just with Carmen, for instance, that we are talking about Dusseldorf, that being in Dusseldorf, surrounded by a lot of Black community, but performing, you have zero Black community, or if it's any Black community, it's from far, or it's an artist that is there in the festival performing. That it's really something that how do we create spaces? Yeah, how that's the knowledge can flow and go to everybody. So I think I find that sometimes even you get the information that are in place, but the structure that is making sometimes it doesn't block, it block that because I imagine a Western audience, that you are in the West, go in a venue to watch a performance where you have nearly 50% of other people, or Black people, or people coming from different realities, from Brazil, from wherever. It could shift something, because the perception of the audience will begin to shift. When I was performing in Brazil, the audience, it's very active. When I perform in Africa, I found that the audience is very active. They react. They don't hold to just in the end let things go. They react. They just they are there active. And then can you imagine this kind of relationship in the audience, that something is going on, that the perception is start to also work. The piece not only transmitting something, but the way you feel it and express it also become an issue, that it's a cultural issue, that maybe from that point or perspective, that you can shake something in the audience beyond only what they are consuming. But when we talk that in ceremonies here of or in many indigenous culture, that when there is a death or wherever something horrible happened, people sing. So people sing and then they come together. So it's another way of dealing with the subject or with what is going on. So I think, but there, if you don't respect this culture, you can think that they are disrespecting the subject itself. So that's for me the knowledge to really shift to learning from different perspective. It enrich individual, it enrich us, and then make us much more stronger to accept differences and to learn from them. Yeah, even if you can continue to position ourselves as what we believe, but that's to know that beyond what we believe, there are other realities. There are other way of dealing with different subjects. Yeah. And then for me, this it's what could be globalization, what could be thinking again in this pandemic, which is a global thing, that we can learn also how other cultures are dealing with that.
Yeah.
That is not only centralized on the perspective of the power. And then for me, it's really interesting that or curious to see that with this pandemic in the African continent, there are some other people who brought some suggestions of producing a kind of tea or whatever which controlled the flavors, caffeine. But there was no interest on the system because all the solutions should be coming from one side. So all these propositions were kind of demonized so that doesn't work. So you have to wait until we have these kind of solutions. But that's the thing. So, but anyway, we don't have so much time. When we always talk, we have a lot of subjects. For me, I'm really happy that despite the pandemic, now you continue working, finding ways to work either in Marais, either in Europe. So I'm doing the same here, despite Omicron or other variants that are coming. So doing work here, also working in last summer I was touring in Europe also here. When I went back, I worked also with Portuguese speaker country that we have been doing something here in Maputo. So we always, despite the crisis, trying to always to find a way to continue, which I think, I think we can take here 2 hours or more, but I think for me to really touch a little bit that it's a really reminder that we are not alone.
Yeah, but you know, Panaibra, I have a dream. So I have a dream. In my dream is that I, not only me, but Brazil can visit you and Mozambique can visit us there. We need to do this because this is so important for us, you know. And since long time we have this dream together. And I always think maybe it will only be a dream that, for example, we can make a tour. You can make a tour in Brazil. I can make a tour in Mozambique. Is a dream for me because, as you said, I want to exchange with this audience. I want to hear from them. I want to dialogue with them. Is also for me, it will be such a pleasure, such an important thing. I don't know if I will be able because I don't tour a lot in my own country also. It's sometimes very difficult. It's more easy for me to play in Europe than to play, for example, in Belém, the north, in Amazonia. It's very difficult. So this is incredible. I don't know if we were able to change this one day, but I have always this dream. Since I visit you, long time ago, was I think 2001. I have
Yeah.
this, how can I come back there? Because it was such a important moment for me. I
Yeah.
remember,
And for me was,
yeah, what?
yeah, also was the same feeling when I was in Marais, and then yeah, was really the same thing that I should come back here.
Yeah,
And also, yeah, that also we need to meet also in the studio, putting those ideas, and doesn't matter if something come out, but to really continue push throwing stones. And then I think those ideas also, if you were able to continue dream, I think, but really not to let the dream die, but to try to find a solution. So
yeah,
to
I try to find a solution, yes.
no, we should continue together to think and then to
Yeah.
continue find a solution. And
Sometimes the survival, this daily life that you have to struggle so much to make survive our projects in our own country. We don't have time enough. I don't feel that I have time enough to really write a project, to go to find fund for money to do this, but who knows?
yeah, but I think even just this small, I remember that was 2019. You were not able to come, but and then I invite Christina Mora to
Yeah,
come
it was
because it was
wonderful.
possible to do something in a project. Yeah, so
Yeah,
but I think if we keep it open, keep it trying to yeah, let it happen.
yeah,
We keep the hope that it will happen, and I I still believe in that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, but maybe I don't know if you because at some point we have a constraint of time. Maybe if you want to add something on top of what we have. Of course, we'll continue off the Zoom, continue
Mm.
having our thinking discussion. But of course, for the kitchen talk, I think at some point we have to cut as we have 1 hour, which is almost 2 minutes or 3 minutes over. Yeah.
I think it's difficult to close a conversation, as you said, is a flow, is a kind of river of conversation. I don't feel like closing. I feel like saying that how wonderful this dialogue that is uh, rolling through years and years and years. And I'd like to be more close to see your projects, what you're doing now, because from what you say, I can imagine what you're producing. Before, I was preparing myself to be with you. So I
Yeah.
decided to go through videos of your work. So I read about you and I make notes and I said, my God, look, this is the life of Panaibra. How interesting. How I would love to see this alive. So maybe
Yes.
one day it's more like this. Sometimes we have to go through again and to be able to make this friendship or this exchange alive. And this was a wonderful moment for me. Thank you, the kitchen talk. It was very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I think we'll find a flow to continue. I still believe, and it doesn't matter if we find it in either here or in Europe. Yeah, but I think we will definitely find a way or platform to really try to be much closer and to think to try to continue that dialogue,
Yeah.
which could transit to another stage that also I'm really we've been talking informal that I would love to see you back in the stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I said now I become a grandmother, but no, why not? Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's still another dream. So
Yeah.
I think, we I think we are here in the world to make possibilities, all possibilities, and to live our life experience for the generation. And then if we can push it, I think it could be also very interesting. Yeah. I believe maybe they will find us a kitchen that we can be in personal, not in life, that we can cook together, we can eat, we can we can do more other things. We have to create, or we'll find with our friends in the world. That's that maybe we can do, but we keep the hope. We keep the faith.
We know how to do. I think I learned how to keep hope with people from Maré, because life say no to them every day, and they have to say yes to life. And this is something that I learn every day from them. Is very strong.
Oh, that's fantastic. Bom, muito obrigado.
Obrigada, meu querido.
So I don't know if there is any. It's live. I don't know if there is any question coming from other people that are watching us, but if not, I think we can. We can just keep going on, and then
Podemos só dizer tchau, até breve.
Até muito breve. Muito obrigado.
Obrigada, querido. Obrigada, Carmen.
Muito obrigado, Carmen.
A gente só desliga? Eu nunca sei essas formalidades. Eu também não sei. I don't know how to do when I say tchau in the Zoom meeting. I never know how to react. If I just do like this, I feel a bit strange. So you have to tell me what to do.
Okay.
But of course, that's,
I say also like obrigada, gracias, thank you. Also like not in my language, but in the universal global language. And was very interesting listening to you. And I also, let's work on the exchange between Mozambique and Brazil, Leah.
Yeah.
So why not? It's south-south, and perhaps we find a way to do that.
Yeah.
And I really hope to have you live in kitchen. Panaibra, I have already cooked.
I'm very bad in cooking, but I can eat very well.
We are very good. Panaibra and me, we are very good cooks. So next time live, and so to make it too weird with the ciao, I say ciao and thank you. And now we can like disappear.
Okay, ciao.
Adios, obrigada. Ciao.
Ciao. Talk soon. Bye.